Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm a little nervous too because there's something, because it's actually more about work than our personal lives. It almost feels more edgy to me.
Ooh,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
Interesting.
that is interesting.
Okay.
The container is now open. This is a really crazy episode because Sai and myself go through a real life repair process. We are guided along the way by none other than Dr. Hazel-Grace Yates. Her repair process brings together over 20 traditions and modalities, mastered over a 14-year career of building real human connection. This is real life. And we did it because we want to show you guys a few really important things. One, we wanted to show the repair process as it actually works in real life. And there's no way you can really fake that. Two, I think it was important for us to have a little bit of vulnerability and authenticity folded into this project. And three, it felt really edgy. And you know, where the edge is, so must we go for personal growth to a certain degree. If you like episodes with this sort of real life dimension to it, check out episode 25, where Susan Campbell led Sai and I through the From Trigger to Tranquil process. And if you want to learn more about the theory of the repair process and how Dr. Hazel-Grace Yates developed it, check out our last episode. There are links for that in the show notes. Oh, and if you could make repair with anyone in your life, who would it be? Shout out in the comments below. So, without further ado, here is a real life repair process between Sai and myself.
Yeah, that's I'm feeling ready to jump in. Do y'all want to? I guess I kind of want to pass the ball to you to facilitate this part. As you curious,
Yeah.
if you feel up to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I would love is if I could have time with Jonathan, and then you would move away, Sai, and then we'll come grab you when we're ready.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Are you gonna be outside?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So what is the piece that you want to bring?
I think the specific one. Yeah, the specific piece is around the way that we interact with our cell phones during recording, or like around recording time for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the most specific way to draw it, is around the cell phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens? Like, y'all are doing a podcast and she's using the cell phone, or she forgets to turn the ringer off, or something else?
Yeah, I think both of those things. And I'm feeling hesitant to rely on memory too much about how many times, but I know maybe a couple times where that's been attention. So something like
Okay. Okay. But my question was, like, is it that she forgets to turn the ringer off, or that she's using it during?
Yeah, both.
Okay. Okay, great. So both. All right. So as you're talking about this, I want you to put yourself on a scale between 1 and 10 on the charge scale of how intense does this feel? 10 feeling the most intense, 1 is like almost unmentionable.
I think in full respect of what 10 can be, I want to go below 5.
Okay.
If that makes sense. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking like, yeah, I'm thinking like a 3.
Great. Okay. So you're at a 3 on the charge scale. And so now what we're going to do is I'm going to invite you to resource your nervous system, your body. And so what I mean by that is seeing if you can spend some time caring for yourself such that you might maybe come down to like a 2 or a 1. And so I'll make some suggestions and then you'll choose which one you want to do. It could be just taking some slow, deep breaths. It could be contacting your own body. It could be standing up and shaking. It could be feeling your feet connected to the floor. It could be imagining yourself in a really beautiful, safe space somewhere. Do any of those strike your fancy?
Yeah, I like the deep breathing. That sounds
Okay,
good to me.
great. So I'll invite you to do some deep breathing and I'll just be silent here. And what are you aware of? What are you noticing now?
Feeling warmer and maybe more relaxed across my chest.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yeah, I'm noticing my feet more. There's almost like like a more full body presence.
Great. And so just feeling into the charge scale again.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like I could be a 1, 1.5, something like that.
Yeah, great. And so just know that you went from a 3 to a 1.5. This is the first step of resourcing, but just know that I'll be inviting you to resource throughout the process. So it's not a
Hmm.
one and done thing. Yeah. Okay. So the next step you're going to do is you're going to explore empathy for yourself and for Sai. So empathy for self. So this looks like just validating yourself, of letting yourself own and acknowledge, like, how does that feel when either the ringer goes off or she's using the phone in the middle of you
Hmm.
know working.
It makes me feel clenched and it's spiky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does.
And any sort of emotion that goes along with it.
Yeah, I almost would say angry, but it's not quite angry. It's more like cranky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And does it feel true for yourself? Like, it's valid that I feel cranky. It's valid that I feel clenched. It makes sense that I'm feeling.
I think I have a lot of self-judgment about it. I think
Mhm.
that, yeah, I'm noticing right now I have this story that's not the way I'm supposed to be feeling
Mm,
about it or something.
mm-hmm. Got it. So you have judgment about the fact that you're feeling some tension around when the cell phone goes off.
Yeah, like it doesn't seem like cool and laid back. It feels like, oh, spiky and businessman like, and like not, yeah, this sort of it feels, yeah, I almost more strongly feel self-judgment about the feeling I have than the feeling itself. That's almost a stronger charge.
Oh, got it. Okay. Got
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So holding one part of you that you want to show up differently. That's one part of you. And another
Hmm.
part of you is what's true is when this thing has happened, I feel cranky. I feel clench in my, you said belly.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Yeah.
feels good.
And just letting yourself be with and own and yeah, just like that's what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And is there any part of you that has care or compassion that you have whatever reaction that you have?
Hmm. I noticed before answering that, I started loading up a story. So I'm gonna like pause and actually answer that. Do a real answer, a real check. Yeah, I think that beyond just wanting to have a smoother working relationship or smoother experience, I think that um I think I honor myself to feel that way. Like honor it enough to be like that's the way it makes you feel, and so there's value in resolving this in some way.
Yeah, beautiful. Great. Yeah, so taking a deep breath into that. And now inviting you to empathy for other. So
Mm,
here we're like, what maybe is going on for them, having curiosity of like, it's called anticipatory understanding of like what might be happening such that this is happening or not.
mm. Yeah, my experience of Sai is that she has much higher responsibilities than I do.
Mm,
And I understand that that probably gives us different relationships we've built over time with our phones, where both of us, like most people, both of us deal a lot with our responsibilities through the phone.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Um, and I've had experiences of having to attend to something on the phone when I would really rather not be attending to something on the phone, and just having to make the choice that like, look, I just get this done and then it's done. And like then and like that's the way that it is.
mm-hmm,
So like I appreciate that, and that experiencing a higher level of responsibility in those areas probably would train me over time to have that different relationship and just balance things differently.
mm-hmm,
Even if it wouldn't have done that to me,
mm-hmm.
I see that that is certainly going on.
Yeah.
And I also recognize through my experience of Sai that she um is is definitely um cares about me and cares about her impact on not just me but just people. So
Mm-hmm.
I really don't feel there's some kind of carelessness or crassness or like disregard going on.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it sounds like you have a lot of empathy and like anticipatory understanding of what maybe is going on over there for her. Yeah.
yeah, I think so.
Cool. Okay. So now we're going to go to the permission step. And the permission step, I'm going to walk you through it because there's 5 different pieces to it.
Okay.
So you say, um, hey, Sai, I want to talk about, and then you would just headline the topic. So I want to talk about, cell phones when we're working. So you name the topic. And the second step is the desired outcome. So what would this be in service of if you're willing to have this conversation? What would you like to get out of it that aligns with your values? Like in service of, us having an easeful relationship working together or efficiency or like what would be your desired outcome?
Yeah, so like the great rather than just the specific, the greater thing we're working towards. Yeah, something around smoother working together or like more um more greatness, more collaborative greatness or something.
Yeah. So maybe in service of working together even more smoothly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to
Yeah.
talk about cell phones and our working together in service of us working together even more smoothly. And
Mhm.
then you're going to name in the moment when Sai's there. And I feel a level, and you would just name the level of charge that you feel on the charge scale. And then you could say, I think it'll take 10 minutes, 20 minutes. You can guess how long it would take. And then the last piece is, would would you be open to that conversation with me right now?
Mm.
Yeah. So it's name the topic in service of, name the charge, time, if there is a time that you can think how long it would take. And then would you be willing to have that conversation with me?
Mm. Okay.
And I'm
So,
happy to guide you through it too.
okay, yeah. Should I go through it right now before?
Yeah, let's do one round and then let's have her come in.
Okay. So, Sai, I want to talk about your use of your cell phone while we're working, in the spirit of working together more smoothly than and more effectively than ever before. And yeah, what are the next steps?
Yeah, no problem. The charge.
Charge, yeah, right now I'm feeling a low charge, but I also recognize that that is not always true. When it's happening, it's higher, maybe like a 3 or a 4 or a 5.
Yeah, so you would name how you're feeling in the moment that you're having the conversation.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I'm feeling a low charge right now. And yeah, and I'm feeling a low charge. And then it's timeline, right?
Yep. How long you think it'll take?
I think the conversation could be 10 or 15 minutes. And would you be
Great.
willing to have that with me?
Nailed it.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we can
All
sigh
right.
in.
I'll bring Cyan.
Are you really enjoying this crazy episode? Yeah, of course you are. The real question is, what are you gonna do about it? Here at The Container, we like to say there are 3 easy ways to support us. If you're watching this on YouTube, then you can like and subscribe. Oh yeah, and comment. It all really helps the algorithm pump, and it feeds it, and it feels so good, and it wants to spread the word of The Container to more people. If you're listening to this as a podcast, rate and review. Whether you're listening to this in Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Audible. And if you really like the work we do, the best way to support us is to become a patron at patreon.com/thecontainer. Our patrons support us with small monthly donations. And we're about to start loading up the Patreon with a bunch of bonus content. The Container is about to endeavor on some educational online events, and all of those are going to be recorded and made available for free to our patrons. All right, now back to Sai and myself repairing our connection.
Back.
Welcome back. All right. Jonathan's got a question to ask you.
Hi.
Yes.
Would you be willing to talk about cell phone use, your cell phone use specifically when we're working together, in order to work together even more smoothly and amazingly than ever before? my charge is low on this right now.
Mhm.
And the conversation will probably take 10 or 15 minutes, I'm guessing.
Mhm.
So would you be willing to have that conversation
Right now?
right now?
Yeah, I would be.
Awesome.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. Fireworks.
Fireworks.
Fireworks. Nailed it. Okay. So that was the permission step. So what we did when you were away is we did the resourcing, empathy, and then Jonathan learned the permission step, and then he just asked you permission. So now we'll go to the next step, which is acknowledge. And so this is talking about the what. And so y'all want to get on the same page about what. And so one of you can start of just, and it would make more sense for you to start, Jonathan. And you're just saying when these things happen, and talk specifically about what happens. And then Sai, you would say, I agree that happens. Or if you have a different experience, then you would get to share your different experience. So we'll let you start, Jonathan.
The moments that are coming to mind are, and I've lost the exact interviews or the events, but there have been moments I've experienced where you are texting during interviews. And that's right? Or checking the phone. Maybe not texting, but like interacting with the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I feel very sure that I've not texted during an interview.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
But somehow engage, like interacting with the screen.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay. And that's happened maybe more than once. And also ringer going off, or or like alerts going off.
Yeah.
So that feels fair. And I also want to acknowledge that I don't have some kind of running count, or it doesn't feel like 20 times. It feels like 5 times.
Yes, the vibration on the phone has gone up, which I think that feels like
Gotcha.
that there's no sound coming from the phone. So I don't know, that seems like a little kind of edgy to bring up. And but I do agree that there have been several instances where the phone has grabbed my attention during an interview, and I've looked at it and maybe even touched it. And that the vibration sound has happened. Yeah. So
Okay.
we agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so you got to what I would call simple shared reality, meaning that your realities match. So there have been times, we don't know how many, the vibration sound has gone off and you have looked at your phone in the middle of an interview. Yeah? Great.
Yes.
So that's the acknowledge step. And then we'll do the impact statement. And the impact statement is when the phone vibrates or you've looked at your phone during an interview, the impact on me is, and then you would share your impact, and both of you are going to get to do this. And then Jonathan, when you share your impact, Sai is going to feed it back. So you're going to say, what I'm hearing you say is, did I get that right?
Yes.
And so Jonathan, knowing that Sai is going to feed back what you're going to be saying, you want to make sure it's bite-sized pieces.
Gotcha.
And not a really, really long monologue, because that's going to be difficult to feed it back. And just know that you don't have to get, if there's 7 different things, know that you don't have to say all 7 things in the first go. So these are partly what we're doing here is we're going slow. We go slow so we get there sooner. And we go slow by saying small bites of pieces of information, feeding it back to make sure that we're still like being connected through the conversation. So
Gotcha.
have you share the impact. So when this thing happened, the impact on me is,
Okay. When when I see you interacting with the phone or I hear it buzzing, when that comes up, I feel cranky. I feel clenched.
So what I heard you say is that when the phone vibrates or you see that I'm interacting with it, that has you feeling cranky or clenched.
Mm-hmm. It makes me feel less in collaboration and more in conflict.
So it has you feeling less collaborative and more like we're in conflict.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Great. And then you could say, did I get that right? Or is there anything else?
Hmm.
Is there anything else?
I don't think so.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Okay. Good job. This is going very smoothly, beautifully. And then, Sai, you also can share your impact. So when my phone goes off or when I do that, what kind of impact do you have on you when that happens?
Yeah. So yeah, when my phone makes a vibrating sound or I feel called to look at it and do look at it, I'm feeling usually feeling very, very constricted, very like worried about the impact on you. Fear, I feel fear that I made a mistake and that you're going to be mad at me because I didn't turn my phone off.
So what I'm hearing is when those events with the phone happen while we're working, that you experience constriction and you experience fear that I will be mad at you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that everything?
There's something else there, which is, I don't know, there's like this other part that where I feel like justified at times where I'm like, oh, I need like this is important for what we're doing. Or like I feel like there's been a time or two where it's like it's happened and it was for the podcast. And because I'm the one that generally deals with communication with the guests and things like that, so there's this feeling of kind of just like I'm justified in having to do this or something. I don't know. That's present, like that's there somewhere. Yeah.
So my reflection might be when that happens, there are times where you feel very justified because of the content or the tasks involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And maybe there's like that justification is like that. I don't know. I'm starting to put words in.
Yeah. It's almost like I feel misunderstood or like you don't have all the information. Like, yeah, constrained because I can't explain to you what is happening, but if you knew, then you wouldn't be
Gotcha.
mad or I don't know. Yeah.
Like you're having this story that I'm mad about it, and then you're reacting to that story in you of my anger with, well, it's justified for these reasons. And so there's like this feeling of conflict inside of you.
Yes.
Not just between us.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I'm noting this maybe seemingly like such a small little inconsequential thing, and like how much is like being able to be illuminated in this conversation so far.
Yeah.
That's why I'm always amazed at like how much depth and richness there can be in like the ones and the twos and the threes. Like so much yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so just checking, both of you got to share your impact and you reflected one another. Did both of you feel heard around the impact that you've experienced around the phone?
I do.
I do.
Very much. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll go to the last step. Yay, yay. Celebrate. We'll go to the last step, which is restore integrity. And so I'm gonna share the menu with you. And the menu are different options or choices that you could choose. If it's a really big rupture, you might want to do multiple of them. It could be a really simple rupture and you might only need one of them. The other thing to note about the restore integrity menu is that it's bi-directional. And what I mean by that is, in this case, Sai, you could say, I want to offer this, or Jonathan, you could make the request, like, I would like this, right? So both of you can participate in this in the last step. So
Okay.
I'll go through them and then I'll see which ones y'all feel drawn to. Yeah. Okay, so you have remorse. So this would be expressing a regret, accountability, apology of some kind. Restorative action. So is there something or something that you can do in service of kind of like balancing out the hurt, or revise agreements or make agreements. Are there any agreements that you want to create or revise? Rewrite stories. Were there any stories that got created that you want to rewrite? And then the last one is redo. So redo is where you would go back in time and say, what would either one of you do differently so that the conflict didn't happen? So I will leave it to you. Which ones are y'all feeling drawn to in this moment?
I feel like redo is alive for me.
Yeah. I'm into redo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
That would be a place to start, right? We could start with that. Maybe
Yeah, we can start there. And there's a couple different ways we can do it. And we have a bit of time, so we could actually do the Gestalt like reenactment one too, if y'all wanted to do that one.
Yes.
But the redo can start really simply, like, and either one of you can say it. And also what you want to do in the redo is check it out to say, if I would have done this, do you imagine that would work for you? Because if you're doing the redo and you're like, that doesn't feel good, I don't like that, then so it's a little bit of like a brainstorm experimentation to find out what would feel good and what would work for both of you. So imagining the interviews in the past, what would either one of you think that you could have done differently?
I'm feeling something.
Okay.
I feel like going forward with the cell phone, and there's probably other things in that same category. I want to make what I need to feel comfortable more clear. Not just like right before an interview, but like, I don't know, whenever we're doing work together, like being just more clear about things that will help me feel more comfortable.
And in this specific thing, could you have said that would have helped you?
I think say after the first time that happened, addressing it directly and saying the way it impacted me, and then before, like, in the leading into other work scenarios, being very, I don't know, more forthcoming
Yeah.
and more direct about that request I have
Yeah.
and the impact that was happening.
My eyes are watering. No, I'm not crying. It's because I'm a little bit sick.
Oh,
I just, like, as you were talking, I'm like, I hope this isn't misperceived as sadness. I'm not, I'm good. So what I'm hearing you say for the redo is that you want to be more, you would have been like very direct and clear prior to the interview. I'm thinking of the one that we did the other day, the John Thompson interview. That you, before that interview, you would have been more direct about what you wanted as far as cell phone.
well, I think I heard be direct about the impact and request. So I actually heard two different things.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. And I mean, I just want to give credit where credit's due. You were very clear about the impact afterwards. I mean, he did share the impact. And I think for me, what I would redo is that
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt because in the redo, you're being very specific about what you would have redone. And just say, I would have been more direct with the request. Like, what is the request?
Gotcha. I would have made an explicit request that phones are off or not in the room, if that's at all possible.
And so in that world, I would have happily put my phone in the other room. And gosh, and I would have remembered in advance to turn my phone off. It was, I'm just remembering like the terror I experienced when I felt my phone vibrate and like already knowing how much that affects you, how much that impacts you, and like wishing that wasn't happening.
Hearing that, I almost like want to, I almost feel more called to, I don't know, not make a request and more, almost want to do more work on why I have that reaction. I feel more like, more motivated to find out what that reaction is coming from and why it feels like it matters so much at the time. It feels like making a request is almost like I want you to change to protect my pattern.
This is like where we always get when we're trying to repair something. It's like, here's my request, but wait, I guess that's work I could do. And
Well, I'm seeing a yes, and you get to have it all. You get to do it all, right? Like,
yes.
Based on what you're talking about, it feels like a reasonable request. Could you please put the thing that could distract either one of us out of our zone? That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
And it also seems reasonable, Jonathan, that you would be curious and inquire of like, is it possible if something distracting happens for me to have less reaction? I'm open to that possibility. I'm curious about that. I'm willing to look at that. That feels valuable too. Yes, and
I guess that's part of my redo as well. Then it's like my redo is like be clear about that need, and then also the things I don't know I need yet. A say to be more mindful and more surrendered.
Yeah. And I'm like I don't know. I don't know where to go with my part of the redo. Like I want to, but I don't know what step to take in this moment.
Well, you already did do one redo, which is like turn my phone off or put it in the other room.
Yeah. In the redo, I will happily put it in the other room. Every time, turn it off completely, put it away. And then, but there's an and to mine too, which is like work with the parts of me that like really do kind of worry that I might need it. There is that is true. That is truly there. Like, what if something happens? Yeah. Like, what if something happens?
Yeah.
In that hour. Yeah.
I have an idea. Do y'all want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay. So we could do you could actually like role play, reenact that you're going to get on an interview and like you physically like, I'm going to turn my cell phone or I'm going to put my cell phone in a room and actually like do it. So you're like physically doing it. Is that something that y'all would be open to doing as like a playful, fun, quick thing?
Yeah,
Sure.
totally.
Okay. So the scene is you're about to start an interview with the next guest.
Ooh, let me get my phone. This is how it really is. It's so realistic.
Yeah.
How it is. Like we're about to start and I'm over here like, well, I got to see if they just texted. What if the link doesn't work? What if the link is broken?
Sai, I have a request to, can you turn off your cell phone or put it in another room for the interview? And I will do the same.
Yes. But wait, I'm struggling. Yes, as soon as they get here.
Gotcha.
Would it be okay if I wait until the guest gets here and then turn it off?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay.
Okay, great. That would help. I mean,
Cool.
I was actually like scared if they were gonna say no. I was like a little bit like
no.
It felt really important that I made that adjustment.
That's a good adjustment.
It really did.
Yeah. Yeah. So then Sarah, the question I have, or Sai,
Okay.
Sarah. Okay.
Yeah. Both are great.
Other than the communications for the guest, is there any fear or concern for having your phone in another room for the 90 minutes during the interview? And like when you're feeling into your body, is there any other fear or concern of not having the phone near you?
Yeah, the one that's coming to mind, which happened very recently, is that my 4-year-old has been sick, really sick lately a lot. And so it was his first day back to school after this bout of illness. And my concern was that the school was going to call during the interview and I was going to miss it. And, yeah, so that was the one time where I was actually worried that it would really matter. Most of the time I know there's other people they can call, but I had a lot of anxiety around that illness for some reason.
Yeah. All right, cool. Great.
Yeah.
And so then to you, Jonathan, of hearing you say that you want to have a different reaction and like you want to, I think you used the word laid back or chill, I think is the word that you might have used. You could do a somatic experiment right now and imagine as if you were on an interview at a podcast with someone. And you could imagine the phone vibrating, the phone going off. And consciously seeing if your body can actually have a different somatic reaction. So that clenching, that grumpy, that cranky.
I don't want to
that you-
make it do it.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
noticing.
doing it. Look, I'm like,
I just got the experience just watching you on your watch. Made me feel that way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I noticed that is happening in my. It's like in my stomach and moving up to my heart. It's like this turning and clenching. Yeah, I'm noticing it feels like a young version of Jonathan. And there's almost fear.
mm,
Yeah. We're not going to go into a parts session work, but I notice I want to, and I notice like just giving you some tools as you walk away of being curious about that part. What is that part afraid of? What does that part need? Letting you know, oh, I hear you. Thanks for letting me know that you want to make sure I'm okay and that we're okay, and like really like hearing it and also letting it know and we're okay.
Hmm.
The show is still going on. Everything is okay. I hear you. And so just getting curious about this part and what it might have, the wisdom it might want to share with you.
Hmm. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay. Do y'all feel sufficiently prepared for now on the phone with the interview?
Hmm.
yeah. Well, I think that I want to revise our, like, I guess we kind of made a new agreement too, along with the redo. I mean, no, we didn't make a new agreement. I mean, we redid, but I want to add a revision, which is to include my watch.
I love that.
Include my watch.
I love
in
that.
yeah.
Oh.
Smartwatch.
Yeah, because if my phone is still on in a different room and my watch, it will distract me and I'll end up going like this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I want to offer that.
Thank you. That's
Cool.
an offer.
I feel big, right? Like that was big of me.
Was very big of you.
Also, I want, for the record, I was actually trying to find a timer on my watch that would vibrate to Jonathan, and then just me looking at it triggered it, which was so funny. I mean, funny.
Funny, not funny. Ha ha.
Right. Like, I care about your
Yeah. Great that.
That was so cool.
It was
I want to acknowledge both of you for your vulnerability and your transparency and what is that word in film? The breaking the third wall or the fourth wall or
yes.
of like as podcasters, y'all just like shared your very real situation, which you said was a little spicy and edgy, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. It was really that if we could like go into a little debriefing of the situation. When I came upstairs and sat down, like it was intense. It was like, oh, we're doing this. We are doing this. And there's something about creating like a really a super like easy to learn container. Like that's something I really appreciate is that I was downstairs for 10 or 15 minutes and Jonathan learned like the steps of asking the permission. And but something about like having a super easy to learn container around a 2 or 3 a charge that's like 1, 2, or 3. I feel excited about using that in the future. But it kind of felt very serious when I sat down. I remember feeling like not scared, but serious.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah.
Something that like seeing it play out in real time that I really liked was doing the shared reality step first I noticed there was this small correction Sai had for the way I would recollect it, which was true. But imagining the sort of like the little gunk up moment, if I had said what how I would summarize it, the facts, and then say how I felt, and then we had to go back into the facts and be like, well, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
There is this way that like, oh yeah, that happens a lot actually in feely conversations I've had that are really about our feelings.
So much.
Right.
So much. Like I'm thinking of so many, not just, I mean, not between you and I, but like between you and I and others, of how it's like, then that becomes the thing you're talking about instead of the feelings. When you just want to get to the this is how it made me feel, but instead you're sitting here debating every little detail so that you can be justified in the way you feel or something.
Yeah, because that's what it is. It's like the stakes get confused where the stakes of your emotion feel like they're on the line for like, did you get here at 4:15 or 4:20? Like, it's like that we're arguing over these little details as if the stakes are the size of the emotions, but it's actually just details that we can sort through first and then wait for like the big feelings to be on the line or something.
Yeah.
That's so fucking cool.
And the simple versus complex shared reality is that's a short.
That's a short.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just want to reflect. And by the way, I'm okay. We're a couple minutes over, which is totally cool for me. As it's good for y'all.
Yeah.
Okay. I will say, thumbs up, Jonathan. I will say, when you did the permission frame, it did feel like there was like more gravity and more intensity than you saying that you were a low charge. My imagining was partly because learning 5 steps was like getting it right and like just trying to focus on making sure you get all 5 steps. Was some of that there for you?
Definitely. Yeah. And I was trying to, it was like that same businessman part being like, I have to do this right. I have to meet the standard.
Yes.
Right. And when you're learning a new thing, at first it's going to feel robotic and it's going to feel clunky until you can, and sometimes, you know, my partner and I can say, hey, I've got a 2. Are you open to it? Right. It's like, but at first when you're learning it, it's like doing all the steps. Yeah, this was so fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming on The Container. This is a great, I love this episode. This is so fun.
I know. I think I could go on and on. I'm like imagining that there's a titration that occurs with the charge levels as well. I just wanted to add that in, like where something that maybe was a 5 is now a 2 in your connection because you've worked through so many low charge things, like that it like titrates into right, like over time you get the shorthand and there's a titration of intensity, like capacity for intensity and stuff.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dr. Hazel-Grace, where, if people want to learn more about the repair process, let us know.
Yeah, my website, drhazelgrace.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Yes.
You too. All right. Be well.
The Container is now closed. I'm really grateful for Dr. Hazel-Grace Yates. She came on the podcast. She taught us about her system, but then she had the courage to actually show that system and how it really works. It helps Sai and I personally. It just goes that extra mile to support people on their journey to make better connections in their lives. And that's what it's all about, to a certain degree. If you want to learn more about the repair process, there is an 8-week course that Dr. Hazel-Grace Yates has on her website, and it starts July 2nd. So you better hurry over to www.drhazelgrace.com. All right, with that, I'm gonna shut her down. I'm about to turn everything off, about to lock the doors. But first, we have a really nice way of closing. Keep it namasty.